Grand Admiral Ta stood on the bridge of the Imperial flagship, Eternal Glory, his four eyes fixed on the blue-green planet displayed on the main screen. Earth, a primitive world, according to all reports. The humans who lived there had barely taken their first steps into their own solar system. They would be easy to bring under Imperial control. "All vessels report ready, Grand Admiral," said Commander Jin, his scaled skin reflecting the soft blue lights of the command console. Ta nodded. "Maintain stealth protocols. I want to observe them before we announce our presence." The small flotilla of 5 ships moved silently through the outer reaches of the solar system. Their stealth technology was the pride of the Xalar Empire, perfected over 4 centuries of development. No civilization had ever detected an Imperial vessel in stealth mode. Not even the technologically advanced Chorus had managed it. "We will be in optimal observation position in 20 minutes, reported Navigator Sue, her fingers dancing across the navigation panel. Tai allowed himself a small smile. This assignment was beneath someone of his rank, but the Emperor had insisted that first contact with potential new subjects should be handled by experienced personnel. In truth, Ta suspected the Emperor simply wanted him away from the capital for a while. Too many whispers of Ta's growing popularity had reached the throne room. Lieutenant Kim's voice cut through Ta's thoughts. "Grand Admiral, we're receiving a transmission." "From where?" "Earth, sir." Ta frowned. "Impossible. Our presence cannot be detected. It must be a routine transmission." "No, sir." Kim's voice trembled slightly. "They're hailing us directly. They've addressed you by name and rank." A cold feeling spread through Ta's 4 hearts. "Put it on screen." The view screen flickered, and the image of the Earth was replaced by a human female in a crisp blue uniform. Her dark eyes were calm, evaluating. No fear, no awe. "Greetings, Grand Admiral Ta of the Xalar Empire," she said, her voice steady. "I am Captain Park of Earth's Unified Defense Force. We detected your vessels entering our solar system approximately 47 minutes ago. Welcome to Sol System." Tay fought to keep his expression neutral. "Captain Park, your greeting is unexpected. Our intelligence suggested your civilization lacks deep space detection capability." A slight smile touched Captain Park's lips. "Our official capabilities and our actual capabilities don't always align, Grand Admiral. Would you prefer to conduct diplomatic relations in orbit or on Earth's surface?" Tug glanced at his senior officers, who looked as shocked as he felt. "How did you know we came for diplomatic purposes?" "Your vessel configuration is consistent with diplomatic missions, not invasion fleets," Park replied. 5 ships, 1 command vessel, 4 support craft. Standard Imperial diplomatic protocol. Commander Jin whispered, "They know our protocols." Ta silenced him with a gesture. "We would be honored to meet on your planet's surface, Captain Park." "Excellent. We'll transmit coordinates for a suitable landing zone. Our delegation will meet you there in 6 hours." After the transmission ended, silence filled the bridge. "How is this possible?" Jin finally asked. "Our stealth systems are perfect." "Apparently not," Tai replied grimly. "Prepare a detailed sensor sweep of the planet. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with." The results only deepened the mystery. Earth's visible technology appeared to match their intelligence reports. Primitive satellites, basic space stations, early interplanetary vessels. Nothing that could detect an Imperial stealth vessel. 6 hours later, Tai led a small delegation to the planet's surface. Their shuttle landed in a clearing surrounded by tall green vegetation. A group of humans waited nearby, standing beside several ground vehicles. Captain Park stepped forward, shorter in person than Tai had expected. She extended her hand in what Ta's cultural briefing had identified as a human greeting gesture. "Welcome to Earth, Grand Admiral." Tai touched his hand to hers briefly. "Thank you for your hospitality, Captain." The humans led them to a nearby building, simple in appearance but comfortable inside. As they settled around a large table, Ta noticed subtle details. The materials of the building were more advanced than they appeared. the lighting more sophisticated. Director Lee, an older human male with gray hair, began the formal introductions. We've prepared information packets about Earth's governmental structure, cultural diversity, and technological capabilities. Ta glanced at the data tablet they provided him. The information matched what Imperial intelligence had gathered. A unified planetary government formed just 30 years ago, early warp drive experiments, limited weapons technology. This is very helpful, Ta said cautiously. In return, allow me to share information about the Xelar Empire. As the meeting progressed, everything seemed normal until Director Lee casually activated a small device on the table. Before we discuss trade possibilities, I thought you might be interested in our recent developments in quantum communication, Lee said, as if mentioning something trivial. The device projected a holographic display showing a communication system identical to one the Empire had developed just 5 years ago. Technology that was supposed to be a closely guarded Imperial secret. Your stealth systems are quite sophisticated, Lee continued. We were impressed by the subspace dampening field. Our engineers found it quite educational. Tai struggled to maintain his composure. I was not aware your civilization had advanced to quantum communication. Lee smiled politely. There are many things we don't broadcast, Grand Admiral, just as you keep certain technologies to yourselves. The remainder of the meeting was a blur for Ta. The humans were polite, respectful, but beneath their courtesy lay an unmistakable message. We know more than you think we do. When they returned to their ships, Ta immediately sent an encrypted message to Emperor Bai. These humans are not what we expected. They have technologies they should not possess. They detected our stealth systems with ease. They know our protocols, possibly more. Recommend extreme caution in all future dealings. This is not a species to be underestimated. As the Imperial flotilla departed Earth's orbit, Tai watched the blue planet recede on his view screen. For the first time in his long career, he felt something he rarely experienced. Fear. Emperor Ba crushed the data tablet in his large-scaled hand. The metal and glass cracked under the pressure. His 6 advisors flinched at the display of anger. The private chamber fell silent except for the soft hum of life support systems. Overcautious nonsense, Ba hissed, throwing the broken device across the room. Ta has grown soft in his old age. The Emperor rose from his throne and walked to the star map that dominated one wall of the chamber. He pressed a scaled finger against a small blue dot. Earth. One small world, he said, one young species, and Ta speaks of them as if they were the ancient ones themselves. He turned to face his war council. What is the status of Battle Group 7? General Du, the oldest of the advisors, consulted his own tablet. Currently stationed near the Centauri border, my Emperor, 27 warships under Commander Choi. They can reach the human system in 4 days. Send them, Emperor Bai ordered. Tell Commander Choi to enter their system directly. No stealth. I want them to see our power. They will kneel before us as all others have. And if they resist, asked Minister 1, the only female on the council. Emperor Ba's mouth stretched into what his species considered a smile. Then they will learn the cost of defiance. 4 days later, Commander Choi stood on the bridge of the Imperial dreadnought, unyielding force, the largest ship in Battle Group 7. The blue-green planet filled the main view screen. No response to our arrival, reported Communications Officer Yoon. Their planetary defense systems remain passive. Choi nodded, pleased. They understand their position. Send the ultimatum. Transmitting now, Yoon said. Message reads, to the leaders of Earth. The Xelar Empire claims this system and all resources within it. You have 1 planetary rotation to surrender your world and pledge loyalty to Emperor Ba. Resistance will result in immediate. The bridge lights flickered and died. Emergency lighting activated, casting a dim red glow across the command center. The view screen went black. Report, Choi demanded. We've lost main power, the engineering officer said, his voice rising with panic. Weapons offline. Engines offline. Communications limited to emergency systems only. How is this possible? Choi slammed his fist on the dead console. Restore power immediately. Sir, called the sensor operator, her voice small in the dim light. Before we lost sensors, I detected energy spikes surrounding our position. All ships in the battle group are reporting identical system failures. Choi felt cold fear grip his 4 hearts. 27 of the Empire's most powerful warships, disabled in seconds without a single shot fired. A soft chime sounded from the emergency communication system. The small screen beside Choi's command chair illuminated, showing the face of a human male. He wore a simple dark uniform with minimal markings of rank. "This is Captain Kang of the Earth Defense Fleet," the human said calmly. "Your vessels have been temporarily disabled. We have no desire for conflict, but we will not be threatened. Your crews will remain safe. Consider this a demonstration of restraint, not weakness." "Where are you?" Choi demanded. "Show yourself." The image on the small screen changed to an external view of Choi's battle group. Surrounding his disabled ships were vessels he had never seen before. They seemed to shimmer into existence like ghosts materializing from nothing. Their design was unlike anything in the known galaxy. Elegant, organic curves rather than the angular, practical designs of Imperial ships. They were smaller than his dreadnoughts but radiated power that his sensors, even in their limited state, registered as far beyond Imperial technology. "As you can see, Commander," Captain Kang's voice continued, "we could have destroyed your fleet. We chose not to. Your life support systems will remain functional. Food and water recycling systems continue to operate. Your crews will be comfortable while we decide how to proceed." The screen went dark, leaving Choi in stunned silence. For 3 days, the Imperial battle group drifted helplessly in Earth orbit. Choi's engineers tried everything to restore power, but the humans had done something they couldn't understand or reverse. The ship's cores were intact, the systems undamaged, but nothing would function. On the 3rd day, Choi was awakened by his executive officer. "Sir, power is returning to all systems," the officer reported. Choi rushed to the bridge, now brightly lit and functioning normally. "Status report. All systems coming back online," reported the engineering officer. "No damage detected. It's as if someone simply turned everything off and now has turned it back on." "Where are the human ships?" "Gone, sir. But we're detecting a massive energy surge at the edge of the system. I believe we're being moved." Before Choi could respond, the stars outside the viewports blurred. When they solidified again, Earth was nowhere to be seen. Instead, they were at the very border of the Sol system. "We've been transported nearly 2 light hours in an instant," the navigator said, voice filled with awe. On the main view screen, a message appeared. "We prefer peace, but are prepared for alternatives." Choi stared at the words for a long moment before giving the order. "Set course for Imperial space. Maximum speed." When they returned to Imperial territory, Commander Choi requested an immediate audience with Emperor Ba. He knelt before the throne, head bowed in shame. "You failed," Emperor Ba said coldly. "My Emperor, these humans, they possess technology far beyond our understanding. They disabled 27 warships without firing a single weapon. They transported our entire battle group across their system in an instant." "Impossible," Ba snapped. "No species could develop such technology without our knowledge. I have brought sensor logs, my Emperor, and a message from their leaders." Emperor Ba watched the recordings in growing silence. When they finished, he turned to his war council, his previous confidence gone. How could Imperial intelligence miss this? A species with this level of technology hiding on a single world. Minister 1 spoke carefully. "Perhaps they weren't hiding, my Emperor. Perhaps they were watching and waiting." Emperor Ba stared at the final message once more. "We prefer peace, but are prepared for alternatives." For the first time in his reign, Emperor Ba felt something unfamiliar: doubt. Emperor Ba paced the war room, his claws clicking against the polished floor. His top military leaders watched in silence. No one dared to speak first after the Emperor's outburst. "Twice," Bai finally said, his voice low and dangerous. "Twice these humans have humiliated the Empire." He stopped pacing and turned to face the gathered commanders. "This cannot stand." Admiral Moon, the Empire's most decorated military leader, stepped forward. "My Emperor, perhaps a diplomatic." "No." Ba slammed his fist on the strategy table, cracking its surface. "No more diplomacy. No more warnings. Launch the full invasion fleet. I want Earth brought to its knees." Admiral Moon bowed deeply. "As you command, my Emperor." The preparations took 2 weeks. The Imperial Armada gathered from across the Empire's territories. 3,000 ships, the largest military force ever assembled in the history of the Xelar. The sight of so many warships filled even the most experienced officers with confidence. Admiral Moon stood on the bridge of the super dreadnought Imperial Will, the largest warship ever built. He watched as the fleet prepared for the jump to Earth's system. "All battle groups report ready, Admiral," said his executive officer, Commander Jun. Moon nodded. "Begin the jump sequence. Remind all commanders, no mercy, no prisoners." The journey took 5 days. When the fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system, Admiral Moon ordered maximum alert status. "Approach with caution," he told his captains. "Deploy scout ships first." The scouts returned with surprising news. Earth appeared completely undefended. No military vessels were detected in orbit. The planetary defense systems that had been observed earlier were inactive. "Could they have fled?" asked Commander Jun. Admiral Moon studied the sensor readings carefully. "Unlikely. Our intelligence indicates humans are deeply attached to their homeworld." He frowned. "It could be a trap." "Our sensors detect nothing threatening, Admiral," reported the sensor officer. "The planet appears vulnerable." After hours of careful scans, Admiral Moon ordered the fleet to advance. 3,000 ships moved toward Earth in perfect formation, weapons charged and ready. As they established orbit around the blue planet, Admiral Moon felt a surge of pride. The humans had clearly recognized the futility of resistance against such overwhelming force. They had given up without a fight, he observed, allowing himself a small smile. "Begin landing procedures. Deploy ground forces at the designated points." "Sir," interrupted Tactical Officer Han, his voice suddenly tight with alarm. "I'm detecting energy signatures everywhere." "What do you mean, everywhere?" Moon demanded. Before Han could answer, the main view screen changed. Throughout the solar system, thousands of points of light suddenly appeared. From behind Earth's moon, from within the asteroid belt, from the clouds of Jupiter, from the rings of Saturn, vessels appeared as if by magic. Most shocking of all, massive ships rose from Earth's oceans, water cascading from their gleaming hulls as they ascended into the atmosphere. "Impossible," whispered Commander Jun. "Our scans showed nothing." The human ships were smaller than Imperial vessels, but their design spoke of advanced technology. They moved with impossible speed, taking positions around the Imperial fleet. "Order all ships to fire," shouted Admiral Moon. "Destroy them." The Imperial Armada unleashed its weapons. Thousands of energy beams and missiles streaked toward the human vessels. Not a single shot connected. Some seemed to pass through the human ships as if they weren't there. Others were absorbed by shimmering shields. Then the humans responded, but not as expected. There was no return fire, no destruction. Instead, invisible forces grabbed Imperial ships, holding them in place. Others found their weapon systems suddenly offline. Shield generators failed across the fleet. Admiral Moon watched in horror as ship after ship reported systems failures. Not catastrophic damage, just carefully targeted disruptions that rendered the mighty Armada helpless. "Sir," reported Communications Officer Gill, "we're receiving a transmission from the human fleet." On the screen appeared a calm-looking human male in a simple uniform. This is Fleet Commander Sung of the Earth Defense Force. Your invasion has failed. We could destroy your vessels, but we choose not to. Stand down, and no harm will come to your crews. We will never surrender to primitives, Moon snarled. Commander Sung's expression didn't change. Look outside your viewport, Admiral. Moon turned to the large window that offered a view of space beyond the bridge. What he saw made his blood run cold. A small human vessel, no larger than a shuttle, hovered just meters away. Through its transparent sections, he could see humans inside, watching him. Somehow, they had bypassed all his ship's defenses to approach undetected. That small ship, Commander Sung continued, carries a device that could convert your flagship's matter to energy in an instant. We have similar vessels positioned at each of your command ships. Moon felt fear for the first time in his long military career. What do you want? For now, your retreat. The Emperor must understand that Earth is not a world to be conquered. Over the next hours, the Imperial Armada was systematically released from whatever forces had held it immobile. As the fleet retreated to the edge of the system, Admiral Moon ordered long-range scans of nearby star systems. What they found destroyed the last of his confidence. Human outposts appeared on sensors in system after system. Some were small research stations, others were fully developed colonies. All showed technology far beyond what the Empire possessed. They've been in space far longer than we thought, said Commander Jun, studying the reports. These colonies appeared decades old. How is this possible? Moon asked, more to himself than to his officer. How could we not know? As the defeated Armada limped back toward Imperial space, Admiral Moon prepared his report to the Emperor. How could he explain that the Empire's greatest military force had been defeated without a single shot fired? How could he make the Emperor understand what they were truly facing? The humans had been among the stars all along, watching, waiting. The supposedly primitive species had outplayed the Empire at every turn. And now they knew the Empire's true intentions. The Great Hall fell silent as Science Director Jun entered. The 20 members of the Imperial Council sat at their elevated positions, watching her with a mixture of fear and curiosity. Emperor Ba was notably absent. Rumors said he had not left his private chambers since Admiral Moon's fleet had returned in disgrace. Jun carried a single data crystal in her scaled hand. It contained information that had cost the lives of 12 intelligence agents and the destruction of 3 stealth vessels. Information that would change the Empire forever. Honored Council, she began, her voice steady despite her nervousness. What I am about to share has been verified by 3 independent intelligence teams. It is the truth about the humans. She inserted the crystal into the central display unit. The lights dimmed, and a holographic image of Earth appeared above the table. We believe humans to be a young, primitive species, Jun said. We were wrong. Catastrophically wrong. The image zoomed in to show Earth's geological history. Humans evolved on what can only be described as a death world. Their planet experienced 5 mass extinction events before they even evolved. The display showed successive waves of destruction sweeping across the planet. 99% of all species that ever lived on Earth died out before humans appeared. Murmurs spread through the council chamber. This environment created a species unlike any we have encountered, Jun continued. They survived ice ages, solar radiation, plagues, and their own destructive tendencies. The hologram shifted to show humans fighting each other. They nearly destroyed themselves multiple times, yet always recovered. Their history is filled with war, but also remarkable cooperation. They developed technology at a rate that defies our understanding of scientific progress. Minister San leaned forward, but our initial surveys showed them barely capable of reaching their own moon. Because that is what they wanted us to see, Jun replied. We now know that humans developed faster than light travel nearly a century earlier than we believed. Their first interstellar missions launched in 2041, not 2132 as our intelligence suggested. The council members shifted uncomfortably as the display showed human ships traveling between stars. They established colonies throughout their galactic neighborhood, Jun said, as the display highlighted dozens of star systems near Earth. But they did so cautiously, respectfully, and in secret. They observed the development of other species, including our own. Impossible, declared Minister Yun, the oldest council member. We would have detected them. Their stealth technology exceeds our own by several magnitudes, Jun said simply. But there is more. The display changed to show a structure orbiting a distant star. It was massive, clearly artificial, yet like no space station any of them had seen before. This is the headquarters of a human organization called the Guardians. Our agents sacrificed their lives to obtain this information. June paused, allowing the weight of those deaths to register with the Council. The Guardians are a council that has been quietly monitoring galactic civilizations for over a century. They occasionally intervene to prevent extinction events or catastrophic wars. The council chamber erupted in shocked exclamations. Intervene? In what way? Asked Minister Hua, her voice cutting through the noise. June touched a control, and the display showed footage of a massive asteroid changing course, narrowly missing a planet. 60 years ago, an extinction-level asteroid was headed toward the Centauri colony world. It mysteriously changed course. We attributed it to natural forces. She changed the display again. 43 years ago, the Velith and Targ civilizations were on the brink of a war that would have destroyed both species. Key leaders on both sides suddenly called for peace talks instead. Are you suggesting humans were behind these events? Minister San asked, his voice hushed. We have confirmation, Jun replied. The Guardians operate on a principle they call minimal necessary intervention. They act only to prevent catastrophic loss of life or civilization. The display showed one final image, a timeline of the Xelar Empire's expansion, with small markers indicating points where expansion slowed or stopped due to natural disasters or political complications. They have been watching us for generations, Jun said quietly. They could have conquered us at any time. But they chose observation and minimal intervention. They don't seek domination. They seek stability and cooperation. The attack we launched wasn't against a primitive species. It was against an advanced civilization, showing remarkable restraint. The council chamber remained silent for several long moments as the implications sank in. Minister Hua was the first to speak. If they are so advanced, why reveal themselves to us now? Why not remain hidden? Because we forced their hand, came a new voice. Every head turned to see Grand Admiral Tai entering the chamber. He looked older, more tired than when he had departed for the first contact mission. By attempting to subjugate them, we provoked a response. But even then, notice how they responded. They disabled rather than destroyed. They showed power without unleashing destruction. Ta walked to the center of the chamber, standing beside Jun. I have just returned from a second diplomatic meeting with their leaders. They have agreed to share certain technologies with us, provided we commit to peaceful coexistence. We should be negotiating from strength, protested Minister Yun. The Empire does not bow to anyone. The Empire no longer has a choice, Ta said bluntly. Our military assessment indicates that in a full conflict, the humans could obliterate our forces within days. But that is not what they want. He produced a small device and activated it. A holographic image of a human female appeared. Captain Park from the first contact mission. We understand the Xelar Empire's shock at discovering our true capabilities, Park's recorded message stated. We concealed our advancement not out of deception, but because we believe each civilization must develop at its own pace. Our policy has always been one of non-interference except when necessary to prevent catastrophe. We now extend an offer of alliance and knowledge sharing. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us to thrive together. When the message ended, the council chamber remained silent for a long moment. They could have conquered us, Minister San said slowly. Instead, they offer partnership. Yes, Tai replied. And now we must decide how to respond. The debate lasted through the night, but in their hearts, Every council member knew there was only one possible choice. The Empire had encountered something it had never expected to find. A power greater than itself, wielded with wisdom rather than ambition. The news spread through the Empire like wildfire. Emperor Ba had kept the truth about humans hidden from his people for too long. When the reports from Science Director Jun finally leaked, riots broke out on 12 Imperial worlds. Citizens demanded answers. Military officers questioned their orders. The Imperial Palace itself was surrounded by protesters. After 3 days of growing unrest, the Imperial Council acted. They entered Emperor Ba's private chambers and found him staring at holographic images of Earth, muttering about revenge. When he refused to address the crisis, Minister Hui spoke the ancient words that had not been used in 500 years. The Emperor no longer serves the Empire. By nightfall, Bai was confined to a remote estate, and Chancellor Min had been appointed as interim leader. His first act was to send a message to Earth requesting peace talks. The transition has been remarkably peaceful, noted Ambassador Song as she walked with her aide through the gardens of the new diplomatic compound in Seoul. Song had been a historian before the contact with the Xelar Empire changed her life forever. Now she represented all of humanity to the stars. Peaceful, but not without cost, her aide replied. 26 dead in the riots on the Xelar homeworld. Song nodded sadly. Change never comes without pain. But compared to what could have happened, she let the thought hang unfinished in the warm spring air. The first official peace conference was held 1 month later. The Xelar delegation arrived in a small transport vessel, deliberately humble compared to their previous military displays. Chancellor Min led the group personally, his traditional imperial regalia replaced by simple diplomatic attire. The meeting took place in the newly constructed Galactic Cooperation Center in Geneva. Humans and Xelar sat across from each other at a circular table designed to represent equality. "We come seeking peace," Chancellor Min began, his translator converting his complex speech patterns into human language. "The Empire," he paused, visibly struggling with the next words. "The former Empire acknowledges its aggression and seeks a new beginning." Ambassador Song nodded. "Earth welcomes this new beginning. We understand the impulse toward expansion. Our own history is filled with similar patterns." She smiled gently. "We offer technology sharing, cultural exchange, and mutual defense." Min's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. "You offer us technology after our attempts to conquer your world." "The past is past," Song replied. "We believe in looking forward. Your people have much to offer as well. Your biological sciences, in particular, exceed our own in several areas." The talks continued for 3 weeks. Agreements were reached on trade, cultural exchange, and territorial boundaries. Most importantly, a framework was established for a new galactic organization, one built on cooperation rather than conquest. Word of these developments spread quickly across known space. Other civilizations that had been subjugated by the Xelar Empire watched carefully. Some had been under imperial control for generations. When they saw no retribution against the Xelar, no human conquest to replace Xelar rule, they began to reach out. First came the Lorians, a gentle species of philosophers whose homeworld had been an imperial mining colony for 2 centuries. Then the Vex, warriors who had fought the Empire to a standstill before being forced into vassal status. Within 3 months, 17 formerly subjugated species had sent representatives to Earth. "They expect us to lead them," Song told the Earth Council during an emergency session. "They see us as liberators." "Do we even want that responsibility?" asked Councillor Pak, representing the Asian Alliance. "Want it or not, it's ours," replied Councillor Gill from the Americas. "If we don't help create something new, the power vacuum will lead to chaos." In the end, Earth agreed to help establish and initially lead a new interstellar coalition, the Galactic Cooperative. Its founding charter, drafted by representatives from 23 species, emphasized autonomy, mutual defense, and shared progress. 6 months after the fall of Emperor Ba, a historic ceremony took place in Earth orbit. The Horizon, humanity's most advanced exploration vessel, had been refitted for a special mission. Its crew included members from 12 different species, including both humans and Xelar. Former Grand Admiral Tai, now serving as the Xelar ambassador to Earth, stood beside Ambassador Song in the observation lounge of Earth's orbital station. Below them, the blue-green planet turned slowly. Above, the gleaming shape of the horizon prepared for departure. "I warned them you were dangerous," Ta said quietly as they watched the final preparations. "I was right, but not in the way I thought. You're only a nightmare to those who seek to oppress." Song smiled. "We've survived too many nightmares of our own to wish them on others." On the main view screen, they could see the bridge of the horizon. Captain Hyun of Earth stood beside Captain Ta Min of the former Empire. The two had formed an unexpected friendship during the joint training program, despite their different backgrounds. "Horizon to Earth Control." Hyun's voice came through clearly. "All systems ready for departure." "You are cleared for launch," came the response. "Safe journey." Ta Min gave the order in the Xelar language and Hyun repeated it in Korean. The ship's new drive system, a hybrid of human and Xelar technology, activated. A shimmering field of energy surrounded the vessel. Then, in a flash of blue light, it vanished from normal space. The Horizon would spend 2 years exploring regions of the galaxy no known species had visited before. Its mission: to discover, to learn, and to extend the hand of friendship to whatever new civilizations they might encounter. "Do you think they'll find others out there?" Tai asked. "Other advanced species?" "The galaxy is vast," Song replied. "I'm certain they will. And when they do, they'll approach with respect and openness, not conquest." As they turned to leave the observation deck, screens around the station showed celebrations taking place across Earth and on dozens of worlds beyond. The fall of the Xelar Empire had not led to chaos or a new tyranny as many had feared. Instead, it had created an opportunity for something unprecedented. Not domination, not subjugation, not even peaceful coexistence. True cooperation. Historians would later mark this day as the beginning of the cooperative era, the day when the galaxy's diverse species finally began to work together toward a shared future among the stars. The end.